Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sydney Motorsport Park, on the outskirts of Sydney, in Australia. What state is it again? Isn't it just it's not Queensland? Is it? I ain't got a clue. But anyway, we have the final round of the 2025 F1 fantasy season. It's the Sydney Super Night. It's the annual since 2023 race that isn't a Grand Prix. 2023 it was a Daytona 305 on the road course of Daytona International Speedway. 2024 it was the Sydney 305, and this year the Sebring 305, and this year instead of going to America and actually Florida, it is the Sydney Super Night. It's the home of Australian motorsport in Sydney Motorsport Park. That's what this circuit is commonly known as. But anyway, let's go through your grid for this last race of the season. Wildcard Brock Feeney is the one who starts at the back of the grid. Actually, is he? Yeah, he is. Of course, controversially given the wildcard duties this weekend, it was meant to be Chaz Mostert. Of course, he was the one that won the Supercars Championship. That's what the deal was with Aston Martin. But they went and gone with Brock Feeney because apparently, according to them, he was the one that deserved the title. And in all fairness, he was the one that deserved the title. It was the stupid playoff format. Anyway, Albon in 20th, 19th is Vesti, poor qualifying from the Williams pair. Pourchaire 18th, he finished second last time out. Doohan 17th, his title charge since the British Grand Prix has been non-existent. And of course, he's now officially out of it. Liam Lawson, winner last time out at his home Grand Prix. He's in 16th place, the New Zealand wide driver. Antonelli in 15th, Ocon 14th, Snowder 13th, another driver who ended his championship charge last week in New Zealand. Drogovic 12th, he's currently the last of the full-time runners. Of course, technically he's part-time, but he's officially a full-time driver. Behrman 11th, he's the lowest of the three championship contenders. Well, technically four championship contenders if you count Pierre Gasly, but the top three all level on 143 points. He's the lowest of those three. Stroll 10th, Sainz an actually decent qualifying test for him in 9th place. Norris, another one of those 143 pointers. He's in 8th place. Piastri in 7th place. He again lost out on his title charge in 7th place. Of course, last week he lost out on it. Of course, also Norris is the reigning world champion. Remember that. Gasly, he's the lowest. He starts in 6th place. He's the only driver in the championship fight not on 143 points. He probably won't win the championship, but you never know. If the top three clash, then he's champion, as long as he does well in this race, of course. Russell in 5th. He is the highest of the championship contenders. We've got Leclerc in 4th. Hamilton 3rd in what could be his last race in Formula 1 for the 7-time world champion. Then we've got Zane Maloney. What qualifying session for him? It's his first race since that win in Argentina. Of course, he missed the last two due to Formula E commitments. He starts in 2nd place. And we've got your pole sitter. It's Max Verstappen, and the grid is about to go underway for the start of the race. Let's go through some facts of Sydney Motorsport Park. It's in Eastern Creek, New South Wales. That's the state. I don't know why I said Queensland. FIA Grade 2. Operated with the Australian Racing Driver Club, and it broke ground in 1989. Opened on the 10th of November 1990, 35 years ago. And yeah, major events. Of course, Supercars Championship. It used to be called the Sydney Super Night, which is what we have here, which is what this race is called, sorry, but now it's called the Sydney 500. It came to Sydney in 1992 to 97, 99 to 05, 07 to 08, 2012, 2014 to 2018, and 2020 to currently, and it also held the grand final in 2003 and 2004. Lamborghini Super Trio Asia came here this year. GT World Challenge Australia 2005, 2015, 2005 to 2015, 2018, 2020, then 2023 to present. Then used to host the Grand Prix Motorcycle Racing Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix from 1991 to 1996. TCR World Tour came here in 2023. TCR Australia came here in 2019. 2021 to 2024, the S5000 Championship, the old Australian single-seater championship, 2021 to 2023, and the 2005 Tasman Series, the S5000 Tasman Series, sorry, in 2021. A1 Grand Prix came here 2005, 2007, and 2008. And then this circuit, 3.910 kilometers, 2.43 miles. It's got 11 turns, and the lap record is a 117.444 by Barton Moyer in a Porsche 968 last year in the World Time Attack Challenge. Now it's quite a short lap, 79 laps this race will be. And the lap record's already been beaten. Well, not the race lap record, but that lap record's been definitely beaten. It's like a 109. Max Verstappen on pole, of course. It's his third pole of the season. Where are the top three in the championship going to end up? We've got a few more corners to go with this formation lap. Then we will be underway. And what a race this will be. Get ready for it. That's all I'm going to say. Oscar Piastri won the Daytona 305 in 2023. Oscar Piastri won the Sebring 305 in 2024. It's the Australian at his home Grand Prix. The man, could he have a hat-trick of Saturday night races? He's currently missed a Saturday night. Will he extend that crown? And where are people going? Why are they driving onto the grass almost? Not a clue. But let's get this final round of the season underway. It's Verstappen versus Maloney. Can Maloney continue that great form he's currently got? What on earth are people doing? Of course, next year he might be in Sauber, but he has got Formula E commitments to race around. It's lights out and away they go in a weird order, but it's going to be Zayn Maloney with a much better start, and it'll be Zayn Maloney starting where he left off last time out. He leads the Grand Prix, going through turn 1, flat out of course. I don't even know why I called it a Grand Prix. It's not a Grand Prix. Verstappen will dive down the inside. He'll retain the lead into turn 2 in the first braking point. George Russell with a brilliant start, the championship contender, in 4th place currently. He's good up a position past Lewis Hamilton. It's Charles Leclerc in 3rd place currently. As I got the wrong way around. No, I haven't. It's Hamilton though, down the inside. And he's going to get 2 into 1. I think he did there. He's fighting his teammate. There's a Sauber going round there. Not Sauber and RB. And almost going off there. I thought was Carlos Sainz, but not quite, thankfully. As they go through next corner, and there's the corner that's named is the Broxo 5, turn 5. But as they go through turn 6 and 7, through turn 8 now, the hairpin corner just after turn 8, Carlos Sainz down the inside on Lewis Hamilton, but it's the best possible start for George Russell. And how did Behrman do at the start? He's had an appalling start for Oliver Behrman, down in 14th place currently. So it's him who's lost out the championship lead to go into this race to Sainz at the moment, going through the final corner. And they go on to the front straight to start lap 2. It's a chaotic start. The Verstappen leads from Zayn Maloney. George Russell in 3rd. Lewis Hamilton in 4th place. Can he win on what possibly is his final start in Formula 1? That's 3 wide almost going into turn 1. And it's going to be Carlos Sainz. No, it's not. It's Charles Leclerc who wins that battle between Stroll and Sainz as well. As they go through turn 2 for the second time. The first braking zone of the lap, of course. They're still fighting at it, these 3. Leclerc, Sainz and Stroll all over each other as they go through Broxo 5. Sorry, this turn 4 first, then Broxo 5. I thought Sainz went to the back of Charles Leclerc there. But now they go through Broxo 5. Stroll sends it down inside. And so Stroll spins Sainz around. Sainz almost goes over. Sainz then into the wall. And is Sainz out of the race before it even gets going? It's not, but he's right at the back. And Carlos Sainz, who's had such a good qualifying for once this season, already finds himself at the back of the pack as Stroll spun him round. And could we see that incident under investigation? I'm sure it will. Stroll's gone down, I think, as well. Stroll must have gone off. Where's Stroll currently? He is 17th place. Lance Stroll also at the back. Sainz didn't lose too much. It's right behind his teammate, Liam Lawson. RB, after the triumph of last week in New Zealand, winning from with Liam Lawson. It's an awful race currently for those two. Of course, Lawson didn't qualify well to begin with. But now Sainz has been spun round, and we'll get a replay of that shortly. But I want to see this battle for the lead. Maloney down the inside, and Zayn Maloney takes the lead of this race. Can he win for the second time this year? And I mean, you never know. If he doesn't do Formula E, who knows? But of course, last week he did score his first point in Formula E in a chaotic race that saw Spanish Grand Prix wildcard Pepe Marti have a barrel roll crash after a weird full course yellow incident. Thankfully, he was all okay though, making his Formula E debut instead of Formula 2, which also finished off last week in Abu Dhabi, but Leonardo Fornaroli already claimed that title the week before in Qatar. Of course, the Italian who wildcarded for Haas in the Italian Grand Prix has signed on for McLaren as a junior driver. Of course, Alex Dunn, the man who wildcarded for the British Grand Prix, ended up being let go by McLaren. We all thought, wonder why that is. We thought it was to do with Red Bull. It was to do with Red Bull. Of course, Helmut Marko announced he'll be leaving the team at the end of the year. Because they signed, something to do with them signing Alex Dunn, but then Red Bull not agreeing with it. Now Verstappen about to go back on Zayn Maloney. Is he down the inside? Verstappen, who's had a poor season so far, he's actually behind his teammate. in the championship, Yuki Tsunoda. Who knows? We don't even know what Red Bull will do next year. Isaac Hadjar is in the mix. Arvid Lindblad, another wildcard driver from this year, who wildcarded at the British Grand Prix. Who knows what will happen? New regs, nobody knows really. But now Russell all over the back of Zane Maloney. He wants to make this move done, and I think he will. He round the outside through box 05, and he'll keep that outside line through turn 6. Is he going to get it done? He goes a bit wide there, but I think he kept all four wheels on the track, and he will get into second place, and Maloney falls down to third place. Now he's got the two Ferraris right behind him as well. Is Hamilton going to send a move down inside? No, he's not, and Hamilton will get overtaken there by Charles Leclerc, I think, which he does. Now Lando Norris getting involved as well in the McLaren. Down inside on Hamilton. He's trying to catch up to George Russell, the reigning champion, as Maloney goes wide as well. They're side by side, too wide. And now Norris gets pushed wide, and he falls behind Lewis Hamilton. With Maloney staying in front of the 7-time champion. But the Barbadian, he's going to block off Hamilton. And will Hamilton try and go round the outside? I think he will. No, he's not. And now Maloney's going to try and make a move into turn 2, and he does. And Maloney will get back onto the podium, I think, unless Leclerc can fight back round the outside, which he does. And it's a good move from Charles Leclerc to get back into third place. But now what I want to watch is a replay of that incident between Stroll and Carlos Sainz. They're currently right by each other, and Sainz is now right behind Stroll. Actually, first I want to see this battle, because you never know what will happen between these two. Does Sainz want revenge? He tried to send it down inside of the very corner that Stroll spun him round. There's a bit of banging wheels there, and Sainz is going to send one down inside of a bit of contact. There's Sainz face, huge contact with Stroll. That looked a bit dodgy from the Spaniard, and Stroll has just got a 10-second time penalty for causing a collision. And as that happens, Sainz sends him wide and sends him right to the back. Only his wildcard teammate Brock Feeney behind him now, as Norris has just got past Zane Maloney. So I know I was about to watch a replay, but we didn't because of... Oh, hang on, move for the lead here. That could be huge. George Russell's going to go for it on Max Verstappen into turn 1. Is he going to go down inside here, or is he going to wait until turn 2? He's going to fight down inside into turn 1. He's going to keep it 2 by 2. And Russell into the lead of the Sydney SuperNight for the first time. Starting in 5th place, he's already at the front after 5 laps. That's a huge start from George Russell if he wants any improvement. And Oliver Bearman's in 8th place. He's been overtaken by Oscar Piastri. So he's down to 9th place. They're side by side. Bearman started 11th, dropped down to 14th. He's now up to 9th place, battling for P8 though. But he will stay behind Piastri for now. And now I think we can get a replay of Sainz versus Stroll on the second lap. Here we go. We'll go on board with Lance Stroll, because he was the one behind, making the overtake attempts. Here we go, so here we go, watching it. Leclerc gets past Sainz, Stroll also gets past Sainz. Sainz doesn't back down though. Stroll tries it down the inside into turn 2. Gets a bit on the curb which slows him down, almost pushes Leclerc wide. And here comes Carlos Sainz, just trying to get involved. It's been a very disappointing season for the Spaniards so far. Despite a podium at Spanish Grand Prix, his home race hasn't been anywhere near him. And now what does Stroll do? He just punts him and almost flips him over. What on earth is that from Stroll? And that 10-second time penalty is very much deserved. But what's also under investigation is that collision between Sainz and Stroll the second time round for causing a collision. And was this deliberate by Carlos Sainz? Have you got past Stroll yet? I think he has. I might have just missed it. No, I think we're a lap ahead. I think it just happened. Yeah, here we go. So Sainz tries to make a lunge, but backs out of it. And then they bang front right to rear left. Sainz drives into the back of him, and then just doesn't really turn and pushes Stroll off the track. I mean, it's not great from Sainz either, and you can't retaliate in Formula 1. This isn't NASCAR. I mean, you can't even retaliate in NASCAR. I think that would be kind of allowed in NASCAR. It's if you intentionally wreck someone that's when the issue comes up. But I think in Formula 1 you just can't do that, and I think that will be a penalty for Carlos Sainz as well. Still don't get what went through Stroll's head, to be honest. That was a huge move from Sainz on his teammate. And I do want to fast forward to the live coverage. The Sainz tries to get past Théo Pourchaire and sends one down the inside. And that's a great move from Carlos Sainz, now up to P14. And where's Stroll? Stroll's right at the back. That's a big shame for the Canadian. In what could be his last race in Formula 1. We've seen it before with Stroll. Of course, he almost lost out as Russell down to third now, by the way, with his championship rival Lando Norris right behind him, so he's lost that lead. What I was trying to say was Stroll almost lost out on a seat last year before that win at the Californian Grand Prix at Laguna Seca, but Stroll has had a disappointing season so far, and he hasn't had any real result to prove that he could be up there. I mean, he's had moments. The Czechia Grand Prix is a big one, where of course he crashed out qualifying right at the start on his outlap and then ended up finishing in P2, so you never know. What I probably should have did I really point out? Nah, it's fine. Don't matter. I'm gonna mention the championship battle because I kind of did mention that in the pre-race build-up. Remember the top three, all on 143 points. Pierre Gasly on 124, also in championship contention. So currently, as it stands, it'll be George Russell claiming that championship. And it's the man that stole it off him in 2023, Charles Leclerc, going down the inside, and Norris into third as well. So Norris now takes that championship lead in third place. He's trying to win for a second year in a row, is the Brit. Won the championship last year at the final race of the season against Charles Leclerc. Leclerc not in a championship fight this year. He was briefly when he won in Brazilian Grand Prix, but came out in that championship fight at the New Zealand Grand Prix last year. If you remember that dominant start of the season from George Russell in 2023, which somehow he bottled, and it ended up going to Charles Leclerc on the final round of the season in Dubai. And then the year after, it was Charles Leclerc again in championship contention, but ended up going to Lando Norris, the man who didn't win a whole race in 2023, won his first race in the opening round of Sepang at the Malaysian Grand Prix, if you remember rightly. And then only other race he won that season was the final round at Bathurst, but his consistency in the mid-season was enough for him to win that championship. And now it's George Russell trying to have redemption from 2 years ago. Verstappen tried it down the inside. Surprisingly, since that dominant 2022 season, the two-time world champion, they almost bang wheels. They're 3 wide into turn 2, and it's Verstappen who takes the lead. Russell trying to go past Leclerc as well. He wants that P3 to try and chase down Lando Norris. Is he going to make the move done? Not quite, no. It's not going to work out for George Russell, but he says all over the back of Charles Leclerc. And Pierre Gasly as well watching on. If anything happens between these top championship contenders, he could end up going into the championship league and potentially winning that championship. So you never know. Another kind of championship contender in 2023. Had the most race wins of that season with 4. Of course, and one of the main reasons that hasn't been beaten in the last 2 seasons, this one and the last one, is because a lot less races. 27 races was in 2023 compared to 13 last year, 17 this year. But we should be back, fingers crossed, to a 27 race calendar next year. I'll go through that calendar later on, of course. But currently Verstappen, who leads Lando Norris. Norris all over the back of Max Verstappen. We saw George Russell lead earlier on. Now it's Lando Norris' turn. He'll go down the inside into turn 2. Normally we can't see that overtake. Thank you. As Piastri as well gets in front of Pierre Gasly. Missed the Saturday night currently. Someone's trying to take that crown off him. Will it be his teammate? As it stands, it will be. And of course, if you're watching the UK, you don't know what time it is. It's currently 10:15 over in Sydney. So, under the lights to end the season off. Second night race of the season. We had the Bahrain Grand Prix as well. It was run by Fred Vesti in the Mercedes, replacing Kimi Antonelli, who was injured for that round after a crash in FP1. What on earth was that noise? I swear I heard some sort of sonic radar in my headset. Anyway, here comes Antonelli, speaking of the devil. He's going past Piastri, and he's trying to get past Pierre Gasly as well through the final corner. Are we going to see a move for the lead though? Verstappen dropped down to 4th. How did I miss that? As Leclerc tried it down the inside. Is it going to be the Twitch quartet haunting each other? Well, 2 members of that quartet haunting each other. Leclerc versus Norris, with one of the third member of George Russell right behind him. Alexander Albon, nowhere to be seen, just like he has been throughout the whole of this year. The only real moment from Alexander Albon was the South African Grand Prix, where that huge crash on the back straight at the Vicasa Freeway. I mean, I would say what a race that was, if you remember the last lap. Apart from that, nothing happened. Actually, as well, Albon had that big crash in the Argentinian sprint race, didn't he? But apart from that, nothing. I think he won last year, didn't he? Yeah, he won the Le Mans the French Grand Prix on the Le Mans Bugatti circuit. He also won the year before at the wasn't Indonesia. No, that went to his teammate Sarge, and he won at the Italian Grand Prix, didn't he, at Monza, dominantly. But speak of the devil, he's currently battling Esteban Ocon right at the back. Lap 12 of 79. This race should fly by, I think. As Norris now trying to slip through Leclerc. Russell trying to get involved as well. Are they going to be 3 wide into turn 2? They are, almost, there they are. And Russell down the inside. He gets 2 into 1. And Russell now takes the lead of the championship and the lead of this race. With Oliver Behrman just hoping that something happens. But at the moment, he is nowhere. As Leclerc versus Verstappen now through turn 4. And through Broxo 5. Verstappen down the inside. They almost make contact. And again, he's still all of the back of him. Now down inside through 6. He's going to make that work. No, not quite. And Leclerc stays in P3. Behrman currently in 9th place, so he's dropped off a bit since we last saw him. Battling Kimi Antonelli. Just getting in front of Kimi Antonelli. The Italian wanting to do bits for his teammate. Of course, Piastri and Antonelli are the 2 teammates of the other 2 championship contenders. With Ocon completely out of it. Behrman's teammate. Ocon's had a weird season so far. Very weird season. In his first for Haas, of course, after replacing Kevin Magnussen. Well, they both left, didn't they? Magnussen and Hulkenberg. And here we go, the 2 championship contenders going at it, and Norris down inside on George Russell. A huge slip through, of course, from the final corner all the way until turn 2. And it's Lando Norris back into the lead of this race, and again, back into the lead of this championship. The reigning world champion, he won it in Australia last year, of course, at Bathurst, this year under the lights of Sydney. And I think next year's season finale is under lights as well. Well, I know it's going to be, it's like Kuwait, obviously, the Kuwait Grand Prix. If they manage to get a night race there, I'm not too sure. Of course, 2 other night races that year already confirmed. Actually, no, is it 3 night races? I think the French Grand Prix is possibly a night race at Magnificent Park. The new circuit they're building to challenge Le Mans. And then they also have the Dutch Grand Prix. That is definitely a night race under the lights at the Maastricht Ring. Street circuit there. And then also as Leclerc down the inside through the final corner. Carlos Sainz up to 9th place, by the way. As Leclerc gets past Russell, that's not what the Brit wants. There we go. But Russell does stay in front of Leclerc for now. But turn 2 exists, and I think Leclerc could be making a move. I think George Russell could be making a move. Huge slipstream, huge slingshot, and Russell into the lead of this race. Leclerc ends up falling behind Verstappen, and he could be falling behind his teammate Lewis Hamilton as well. As Hamilton goes round the outside through turn 3. There we go, finally got it. But it's not going to work out as Leclerc has it through turn 4. Anyway, what was I trying to say? Night races, yeah. Also, the Texas, at the moment, 305. That's this race next year at Texas Motor Speedway. F1's first full oval race since the 1960 Indy 500. Of course, we had 2 oval, well, kind of ovals. We had the Italian Grand Prix in 2023 and the Daytona 305 in 2023. But they were both road courses. I'm also trying to think, they have kind of got another oval with the Daytona Grand Prix on the beach and road course, but it's not really a proper race, is it? Interested to see how that race would go. Of course, F1 cars on the beach. But NASCAR managed it back in the 50s, so why not? It's Hamilton trying to get past Leclerc now. There's a battle for the lead, actually, between Norris and Russell. I probably should be watching this battle instead of Leclerc versus Hamilton. But it's Norris back into the lead, ahead of George Russell and ahead of Max Verstappen. With Charles Leclerc versus Hamilton behind them. Ferrari civil war going on. Lap 16 of 79, of course, pit stops. They're all on the hards as per usual. I'm assuming around lap 40-ish, just after maybe. Behrman in 8th place now. Carlos Sainz in 9th place. The Spaniard, after spinning on lap 1, 10-second time penalty has just been announced for him. For that collision with Stroll. When, of course, he just completely barged him off the track, which is fair enough. Berman isn't really looking into this to get into this race. I mean, he hasn't really had. He's had 2 wins, which is the most of any of the championship contenders. The other two have just got the one. Wait, hang on. No, Norris has also got 2 because he won. He hasn't. So Russell's won 1 race, the Canadian Grand Prix. Berman's won 2 races, the Italian and German Grand Prix. The German Grand Prix was very lucky. Russell's about to make a move to the lead. Yes, he does, and Russell now into the lead. Norris has won 2. He won the Australian Grand Prix, the opening round of the season, at, where was it? The Bend, there we go. Just like he did in 2024, his championship year. Winning the opening round, that time at Sepang. He also won the final round of the season at Bathurst. This year, he's won the Czech Grand Prix, which wasn't the final round of the season, obviously. It was like halfway through the season. But, yeah, back in the country, he won his first championship. His teammate's home race, second home race of the season. Driver from Melbourne. Anyway. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is Behrman's kind of been... I mean, in all fairness, they've all had their ups and downs this year. If I get up the championship standings and race results... drivers... Russell... So let's go here with Behrman for now, championship leader. He also got a podium at the Australian Grand Prix. Everyone thought that was a bit of a fluke. And then, after a 3rd place in the sprint as well, and then 11th at China, 6th in South Africa, everyone thought, like, yeah, he'd have an okay season. Then he ended up winning the Italian Grand Prix after another 3rd in the sprint. And then 2 no scores in Spain and Canada, a 5th in Bulgaria, a podium from a pole, also the fastest lap of the Belgian Grand Prix, a no score in Czechia and the British Grand Prix, a win in the German Grand Prix, another no score at the Bahrain Grand Prix, 10th at the US Grand Prix, a DNF out of the Argentinian Grand Prix, but a lot of people DNF out of that one in his defence, 2nd place in the Brazilian Grand Prix, then a 4th in the New Zealand Grand Prix. So it's not been amazing, but it's not been bad. And then 2nd place Norris, of course, won the opening round of the season with a 5th in the sprint. No score at China after a collision with Stroll in the closing stages of the race. A 9th in South Africa, a 17th in Italy, a 14th in Spain with the 3rd in the sprint, a 3rd in Canada, a 4th in Bulgaria, a DNF in the Belgian Grand Prix, a win at the Czechia Grand Prix, a 4th at the British Grand Prix, 7th at the German Grand Prix, 4th at the Bahrain Grand Prix, the 2nd in the sprint, 14th at the US Grand Prix, a 4th at the Argentinian Grand Prix, with a 4th in the sprint, and a DNF in Brazil, and a DNF, of course, at the New Zealand Grand Prix. So he's not been, like, massively consistent. He hasn't had a podium since the Czechia Grand Prix that he won, so, I mean, there are 3 4th places in that time as well. Anyway, now it's George Russell in 3rd place, 6th in the Australian Grand Prix with a 6th in the sprint, 9th in the Chinese Grand Prix, 7th for the South African Grand Prix, 13th for the Italian Grand Prix, 9th for the Spanish Grand Prix, a win of the Canadian Grand Prix, his only win of the season, 2nd of the Bulgarian Grand Prix, DNF in the Belgian Grand Prix with a 5th in the sprint, 3rd of the Czechia Grand Prix, 5th of the British Grand Prix, 9th of the German Grand Prix with the fastest lap, 2nd of the Bahrain Grand Prix with a win in the sprint, 12th of the US Grand Prix, 10th of the Argentine Grand Prix with the 2nd of the sprint, 4th of the Brazilian Grand Prix with the fastest lap, and then a DNF, of course, at the New Zealand Grand Prix after the crash of Lando Norris. Anyway, going on to lap 20, as Norris will probably make a move for the lead. I'm going to go for a quick break, and I'll see you afterwards. Welcome back to Sydney. And one lap later, from Norris taking the lead of the race, it's again George Russell now in the lead of the race. So he retakes the lead again, and these two are kind of going back and forth with each other, with Verstappen and Leclerc going on, Hamilton, sorry, going at it as well. Leclerc's dropped off a bit now behind Gasly and Piastri. Gasly now in 5th place, getting those 10 points. He'll put him on 134, still not enough though. He'll need at least a win, I think, actually, to take that championship lead, if anything happens to the top 3. Of course, hopefully not. We want to see a nice, clean race in championship battle. As it stands, it's George Russell leading it from Lando Norris. Behrman down to 9th place now. So he's fallen off a little bit. Someone's got past these. Who is it? Possibly Tsunoda. I mean, I think everyone else has always been up there. Of course, the grid for next year is widely up for consideration. I think McLaren is definitely confirmed. Mercedes is definitely confirmed. Apart from that, I don't think any other team is officially locked in for next year. Because, of course, Cadillac are most likely, as Norris takes the lead of the race again, most likely going to steal Drugovich from Aston Martin and Vesti from Williams. That gives Williams a fresh seat. That's almost confirmed that Sainz will take that seat. So that leaves RB with a gap. They've got Isaac Hadjar and Arvid Lindblad that could take that seat. I think it's most likely going to go to Isaac Hadjar, unless he goes to Red Bull. What happens with Verstappen next year? Who knows? Tsunoda's the same thing. I know Verstappen's meant to be Red Bull's golden boy, but Tsunoda has outperformed him this year, so you never know what would happen there. And then, of course, Haas and Ferrari. Hamilton's probably going to announce his retirement before the end of the year. And Oliver Behrman more than likely will take that Ferrari seat. So that leaves it to another empty seat in Haas. Who will take that seat? We've got F2 championship winner, sorry, Leonardo Fornaroli. Yes, he drove for Haas as a wildcard driver in the Italian Grand Prix. He's now tied down to McLaren as a reserve driver. So, like, he might not take that Haas seat. And then we go back to Aston Martin, where I said earlier, Drugovich is probably going to go to Cadillac. More than likely, Jack Crawford will take that seat full time. And then we've got Lance Stroll. Will they finally get rid of him? And then who have we got? And we've got another open seat in Aston Martin. Could we see potentially, if Yuki Tsunoda leaves Red Bull, Tsunoda go into Aston Martin? And then Alpine as well. Will Jack Doohan stay on? He's had a decent rookie season. I highly doubt he'll leave leave Alpine at the end of the year. So, but you never know. Franco Colapinto, Paul Aaron, Colapinto currently tied down to Williams as a reserve driver. Albon I don't see leaving, so you never know what happened there. And I think that's all team. No, they've still got Sauber with Gabriel Bortoleto possibly taking Pourchaire's seat. I think Zane Maloney will stay on. Pourchaire looking less likely, so we'll have to see. Zane Maloney has impressed a lot more than Pourchaire this year, but it'll be a shame to lose Théo Pourchaire. Have to admit, but he has got wet races next year, and I think that is all the teams mentioned so far. Have I mentioned them all? I think so. Yes. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens next year. We will have to see what happens. Anyway, Norris currently leading. Wildcards, by the way, for next year, it's looking likely that it'll be 3 per team instead of the 2 this year. That's because, of course, a lot more races. And actually, 3 times 11, 33. That's 33 wildcard drivers in 27 races. So again, we will see drivers going wildcard in. But like, there might be some races that might have more wildcards. Like, I have a feeling Texas will be one that has a few. Like, maybe someone brings in a Joseph Newgarden or a Colton Herta. Cadillac, they've got Colton Herta definitely as a reserve driver next year. I don't believe that round clashes with F2 schedule next year. So could we see Colton Herta racing in the Texas 305 for Cadillac? That's just an example. Joseph Newgarden as well. Another shout, maybe a NASCAR driver, although it probably won't happen unless like maybe McLaren go for Kyle Larson. Who knows? Anyway, let me just check the date. Does it clash with F2? What night is Texas? That's Brazil. Wait, what? No, that is Brazil. Texas is... Oh, that's Daytona. No, Texas does clash with LaSalle, so, like, unless they swap those rounds around to, like, maybe, who knows. Anyway, have the race going against George Russell leading. Hamilton sends it down inside Norris. Verstappen trying to go down inside and Lando Norris as well. Verstappen could finally change how this battle's going. You see Sainz to the back of Behrman now. And is Verstappen going to go down inside? He's going to go round the outside, I think, of Lando Norris. And it's been Russell versus Norris for so long. Norris is down to 4th place at one point. Verstappen to the lead. Is Norris going to try and get past George Russell from 4th to 2nd in a corner? I don't think so. And Norris down to 3rd place now, but it's Verstappen who leads. The pole sitter, of course, currently leading this race. Russell 2nd, Norris 3rd. Sainz out of nowhere trying to get past Lewis Hamilton. If I was calling him Charles Leclerc, yes, I do apologise. But it's Sainz versus Hamilton, the former Ferrari driver from last year. And Sainz all over the back of Hamilton now. Up to 5th place. Remember, he does have a 10-second time penalty, a needless 10-second time penalty for that collision with Stroll. Not like Sainz to do that, in all fairness. Sainz does get past Lewis Hamilton. Sainz currently on a rampage. He hits the back of Norris there. Goes wide. Lets Hamilton past him. But is he going to try and get on the throttle? No, he's not. Of course, if you remember, Sydney, race 2 of the Sydney 500 for the supercars was one of the races of the year, I think, in motorsport. Especially that final 4 laps. So you never know what will happen. Of course, it was Mostert, Feeney, and eventually Will Brown getting involved as well. Anyway. I'd normally say it's getting a bit late, but it's only late in Sydney. Currently in the UK, just gone 11:30, 10:30 over in Sydney. At night, of course. With the floodlights on. I've only just noticed why there's so many pylons. As Carlos Sainz is in 2nd place, and he goes around the outside. Carlos Sainz leads the Sydney SuperNight. What a move that is from the Spaniard, going from last on lap 2, 26 laps later. He currently leads. Of course, with that 10-second time penalty, maybe pushing a little bit. Ignore the barking dog, or something telling me someone's at the door. But I've got people to sort that out. Shut up, Jesus. Anyway, Sainz, he is going to claim the lead. Russell tried to get it back, but Sainz does lead. Hang on a second. Apologies for that. Yeah, Sainz absolutely flying. I'm surprised he didn't even have any damage. It looks like he's inside the tyre wall at one point. But Carlos Sainz currently flying as it stands. Norris down to 4th at the moment. So Russell will win the championship by 5 points as it stands over Lando Norris. Behrman will be a little bit behind as well. I think Liam Lawson's doing quite well. He's right at the back as well at one point, so doing well to catch back up. Anyone pitted yet? Haven't heard from anyone, but you never know. Been a relatively clean race so far, apart from the instant lap 2. It's like, no one's pitted so far. Fred Vesey, I'm surprised he's right at the back. He's shown promise recently. And what could be his final race for Williams in his one and only season for them. Of course, Mercedes last year had 1 year of them. Ended up going to Williams the year after. despite not being that bad, he didn't win a whole race for Mercedes. Only race win came with Mercedes this year when he replaced what's his name, Antonelli. And then people said maybe Vettel's better than Antonelli. Antonelli's not that good. Antonelli ended up winning the week after, or 2 weeks after, in Mid Ohio. Anyways, Carlos Sainz, it could be his last race at RB as well. I think we're gonna have a huge grid shake-up next year, especially with Cadillac taking 2 drivers from 2 different teams. Because there was rumours of Bottas and Perez potentially taking it, but in the end, they decided to stay in retirement, which I think is the best thing for both of them. And Cadillac going with actually 2 drivers that have driven for Cadillac before. Vesti actually was a full-time IMSA driver for their LMPD outfit, I believe it's called, hypercar. The top class, basically, full-time. And then Drogovic raced for them in the 224 hours as well. And then I thought he was doing full-time, but yeah. So yeah, apologies Felipe. What Vesti's though next year, I don't actually know. It probably won't be full-time F1. I think he will miss a few races due to probably IMSA commitments. And then also, also Drogovic, Formula E next year. So, already missed 1 race this year due to it. That was the race last week, where Mario Boyer impressed in P5. But, yeah, also, Albon, I was saying earlier, he only had 2 real moments, now it was 2 crashes. A third crash, it was the one in the final corner last race that quite him 5 second time penalty for crashing into Lance Stroll. I think Stroll becoming the first ever driver to cross the finish line sideways. Of course, we had, was it Christian Fittipaldi? Finished race upside down at Monza in 1993, I believe, but never sideways. Was it upside down or in the air, or both? I can't remember. Of course, Ryan Newman finished the 2020 Daytona 500 upside down, unfortunately. Big injury for him, and was that his last start in NASCAR? I'm not too sure. Anyway, still Sainz in the lead. I'm going to go for another quick break, for a lap or two, because the race is starting to die down a little bit, so I'll see you afterwards. Hello and welcome back to Sydney, where it's Carlos Sainz who has zoomed away in this race. The man that he collided with earlier on, Lance Stroll, down in 20th place, but he is slow. Hugely, oh, it's not that big actually, but yeah, it is Sainz in the lead still. But is he pushing too much on his tyres? We probably are going to see pit stops in the next couple of laps, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 laps. Could see pit stops. Yeah, I'm trying to. Hang on, it's got food in my mouth. Let me just have a quick drink. There we go. That should be fine now. But yeah, remember, Sainz with that 10-second time penalty was right at the back. Maybe he's just trying to push to get that gap up a bit before he serves that penalty. Because that was a long time waiting in the pits, 10 seconds after they've changed the tyres. Of course, it used to be before, now it's after. Why they changed that, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think it's a bad change. I don't think it really makes a difference, to be honest. I guess the only advantage it could be is if, for example, you're getting held up because of people, like, you don't want unsafe release, basically. That could be, like, it does kind of change that if it's, like, a big flurry of pit stops that we normally see, but you never know, that might not happen. Probably a bit of a rare circumstance. Almost halfway through this race now. Lap 37, going to lap 38 now, quarter to 12, almost lunchtime. I am blimmin' hungry. I mean, I just had a quick bite to eat, just to pass me over before lunch at about probably 1 o'clock-ish, maybe just after. That's what happens when you have Saturday night races. Normally they've been very late at night, because of course they've been in America, but this time it's in Australia, so we can actually watch it, which is nice. Very nice indeed. Anyways, shame we haven't actually got gaps anymore. I should bring data telemetry back to F1, but oh well. It's not. Let's say 3 or 4 seconds the gap in the lead currently. Sainz is definitely getting away though, but as I said before, next few laps we will probably see pit stops. In fact, we will see pit stops soon. But like, since Sainz taking the lead, they've kind of died out of it. Like, the gap between Russell and Verstappen is a bit bigger as well. Not really been many battles. But as it stands, George Russell will take that crown that he so heartbreakingly lost back in 2023. This season, of course, has his only win since that season. Didn't win for that whole last year, and then it was since the Chinese Grand Prix of that year. What a race that was! If you remember, Sainz getting, not Sainz, Russell getting that win on the line. It was a very tight race. Speaking of tight races, watch this race to the Sydney 500. This is watch the highlights of the last 4 laps, whatever you want. But yeah, what a brilliant race, and the gap's actually kind of closed. I think it's a lot closer than it was earlier. That's for sure. But still no pit stops being seen. Lap 40, so we are over half race distance now. Literally just over. We've just gone into the second half. But no battles really. Where's Behrman currently? He is in 8th place, so he's not out of it. I mean, you never know. He could have a late charge, but we'll have to see what happens after the pit stops, really. I think would be the best way to do it. Ooh, we've got the TCR World Tour calendar out. That's nice. Don't think it's changed at all, apart from I think maybe Paul Ricard and Chengdu Tianfu circuit, if I'm correct. I think so anyway. Let's go on racingcalendar.net and see. It's actually George Russell's got past Carlos Sainz. What on earth did that happen? Russell takes the lead of the race. I must have missed that. Did Sainz have an issue or something? Because maybe Sainz's tyres must be completely gone then. That gap closed massively. You've obviously seen it. I'm just lost, really. You know what? I think these tyres must be gone. Only possible reason, really, as we... Oh, no, too far. Whoops. Almost there. There we go. Back live. Yeah, TCR World Tour. Here we go. So I think Mons has been replaced by Paul Ricard, and yeah, the Bend has been replaced by Chengdu. But apart from that, pretty much the same. Yeah, it's fine. Not the most entertaining series. No, actually, I mean, it's kind of okay. Anyway, we actually have a race battle for the lead on again. Sainz dropping off. His tyres must be gone. He's pushed a lot harder than everyone else, of course. He's had to make up 20 positions. There's now, here's Oliver Behrman actually come out of nowhere. Here's Oliver Behrman. He's now up to, he just got past Verstappen. He's into third place. He's in front of Lando Norris, and I said anything could happen with him. Anything is happening if Verstappen actually is back down the inside on him. Okay. Oh, there we go. Still no pit stops. As we go on to lap 43, a huge block there from Behrman on Verstappen. Big defence, but Verstappen, he's still going to find a way down the inside, and Verstappen's still going to try and get past Behrman. He's going to get moved done, he is, even before the corner. That's a huge move, and he's trying to get Sainz as well. 2 into 2, maybe. Round the outside as Behrman goes off almost, now he's side by side of Norris. But Behrman keeps the move. And now he will send it on Verstappen. Huge dive bomb. Was there contact there? I don't think so. He gets onto the curb and onto the grass, and he has to bail out of it, I think. And while we're watching Russell, if there's a battle going on. Come on. Behrman again, he's got in front of him. There we go, Oliver Behrman up to third place now. Back in front of the Dutchman. And Behrman charging down George Russell in the lead of this race. Speaking of charging, round the outside goes Lando Norris, and Norris is trying to get it done as well. And I think Norris could get back in front of Behrman. He gets in front of Verstappen at least through turn 9, well through turn 10. Turn 8, sorry, well through turn 10 and 11. Norris is in front of Behrman, but Behrman is going to chase him down. He will slipstream the McLaren driver. Still no pit stops. Are we going to see a move into turn 2? Sainz still up there. I mean, he's not doing awfully. And we're going to see a move down the inside. Yes, we are. And Behrman up into the lead. I mean, up into third place, sorry, what am I on about? And he's going to go straight round the outside of Sainz as well. And Behrman, almost a huge wobble. He almost loses the car there with that outside move. So he is going to lose out on the position to Sainz. But no, he's not, because he fights back. And through Brock 05, he gets the move done. Pushes Sainz a little bit wide. But Behrman now up to second place. And Behrman trying to go for this championship as Norris now past Sainz as well. Huge move for Norris. And now the top 3 in the championship are currently 1, 2 and 3. And Sainz a huge wobble there. Sainz goes wide as well. It's now Verstappen trying to get past Norris and try and spoil the party with Leclerc on Tsunoda as well. Tsunoda's kind of done a bit decently in this race after how it started. Verstappen is going to get in front of Lando Norris. That's a good move from him. And now we're going to see pit stops. No, still nothing. Norris, though, all over the back of Verstappen as Behrman goes for the lead of the race. Into turn 1, it's not going to work out. What about into turn 2? Sainz is going to try and go for a 3 wide move, and it's not going to work out though. But for Behrman, for the first time in this race, he takes the lead, and Behrman takes the lead of the championship that he already had actually, so he stays in the lead of the championship in front of George Russell, currently 8 points ahead, of course. I'm not sure who has the fastest lap at the moment. Verstappen's got the pole point, so that doesn't make a difference to anything. Norris, as Leclerc tries to get past, Sainz doesn't quite able to though. Not quite able to though, sorry. Now the Ferrari is going at it with each other. I'm assuming it's Leclerc, by the way. Apologies if it's not. I have to wait for the thing at the top to come round. I'm not too fussed. The Sainz now racing Tsunoda as well. Tsunoda gets past the Spaniard. So now it's Tsunoda up to 5th place. Still not seeing pit stops. On 46 laps on these hard tyres. Or 45 laps, sorry. Which is huge. Now Sainz there, down on his side on Tsunoda. Russell down on his side on Behrman. And Leclerc down on his side on Hamilton. Or one of the two, I'm not sure. But it's Leclerc in front of Hamilton as it stands. George Russell now leads. Yes, again. Could it finally be his day? The 2018 F2 World Champion. Who was runner-up that year? Lando Norris. The reigning World Champion this year, of course. Who was 3rd place that year? Alex Albon. Nowhere near as Sainz a huge dive bomb on Verstappen and Norris, pushes Verstappen wide, and now Norris up into 3rd place. And now I think he'll have to back out of that move. Yes, he is. Sainz, remember, already got a 10-second time penalty. Needs to keep it clean. There's the two Red Bulls going at it now. And, oh, I thought we were going to see a pit stop then, but no, it's Behrman pulling out to the left to try and make a move into turn 1. I don't get why people are making a move to turn 1, to be honest. It's a slipstream. But he's going to do it, and I think it's going to work out anyway. Because Behrman down the inside, Behrman will take the lead of the Sydney SuperNight again. I think for the 2nd time this race he leads. George Russell in 2nd and Norris in 3rd. Sainz 4th, the two Red Bulls going at it. Tsunoda currently ahead of his teammate. Verstappen down to 6th after leading earlier on, of course, started from pole. And it's Lewis Hamilton now in front of Charles Leclerc. But these tyres have got to be gone now, especially Carlos Sainz is gone from top of the race, top of the positions, down to bright at the back. Charged through the field, led at one point by a decent margin, but those tyres just fell off. Either they fell off or he got told to hold on to them. Because they must have been dying. As they go through the final corner. We're finally going to see pit stops. Yes, we are. In comes George Russell. He's the first one to get rid of his tyres, and one of the Alpines came in as well. Which one it is, I'm not too sure. But I'm sure we'll find out eventually. It is Jack Doohan who came in as Norris stays in front of Sainz. Sainz tried it round the outside, but it's Behrman who still leads. They both go a bit wide, actually. I think Tsunoda actually made contact with Sainz because it pushes the RB driver wide, and it's the Red Bull sister team who gets pushed out. And it's Tsunoda up into 3rd place, but they're still fighting each other. Tsunoda with the inside line, and did Sainz spin there? I thought he did. No, he didn't. He just almost went off the track. As Tsunoda fighting for it. He'll know it's Verstappen, sorry, down the inside. On Carlos Sainz, he spins Sainz round. Sainz has gone round again. That's a huge moment in this race. Everyone gets held up a little bit. Sainz goes round. Whose fault was that then? It's Red Bull versus RB. Huge moment. I'm not going to get a replay just yet, because people will probably be pitting soon, and I want to get through the pit stop sequence first. But that's good for the top 3, because it separates them. It's not really George Russell that gets any advantage, despite pitting. And are we going to see pit stops now? Let's see. In comes Norris, and in comes Tsunoda. So Behrman stays out. And I'm surprised it's not Sainz who comes in early, to be honest. I think Sainz just came in there. So Verstappen stays out, Leclerc stays out, Gasly stays out, Hamilton stays out, Antonelli stays out, Albon stays out. Okay, most people stayed out. It wasn't the Sainz that came in. It must have been Lawson. It was how they're doing it. It was Lawson. So it's George Russell with a huge lead. Norris only just coming out of the pits. Jumping by doing as well. Pitting a lap early was the thing to do. Maybe they got held up in the pits. Who knows? Snowden behind Norris. They've got Lawson at the back, of course. Now, who comes in this lap? It's Bergman with a huge lead on Verstappen. After, of course, Verstappen spun Sainz and got held up. That's under investigation, by the way. Under investigation, Verstappen and Sainz are causing a collision. It's the second time Sainz has been spun round this race. Thankfully, not as bad as the first one. And he was able to continue near the front of the pack. But let's see. Oh, we're going to see pit stops now. With Behrman coming in. Surely he does. No, he stays out again. Verstappen doesn't though. So does Charles Leclerc. So Behrman going long. I don't think that's going to be a good idea, you know. I just don't see it working out, to be honest. And then who's in second place? I think it's Carlos Sainz. It is Carlos Sainz in second. And oh, that's Sainz got a huge off! Sainz goes into the gravel. Thankfully, there's a big runoff area, so he's just about to avoid the tyre wall. But Sainz with a huge off. That's the third off he's had this race. And that's not going to help him, especially considering he's still got that 10-second time penalty. But that's a huge spin for Carlos Sainz. And he's been overtaken by George Russell. George Russell, who's already pitted, is now in front of Carlos Sainz. That's awful for him. What happened there? Did he have contact with someone? Of his tyres gone? Who knows? I feel like we're going to see Kim into the pits though. It's Behrman, Antonelli, Brock Feeney, the wildcard driver, Lance Stroll, Vesti, Ocon and Pourchaire, and Maloney yet to pit. And of course Carlos Sainz. Everyone else has come in. Now Sainz is behind Norris and Doohan as well. So your top three is going to be Russell, Norris and Doohan, I'm assuming. I feel like Behrman's made a huge mistake pitting later. Who has made a big mistake is Carlos Sainz, of course. And now they're coming in. No, Behrman stayed out again. What is going on with Oliver Behrman? Stroll comes in. Antonelli comes in. Brock Feeney stayed out. So did Vesti and Pourchaire. Maloney also in. There's Pourchaire down the inside on Albon. We'll get a replay of what happened to Sainz and the Sainz versus Verstappen incident once these lot have made their pit stops. I just want to see where everyone comes out. Yeah, Sainz did come into the pits as well that lap. So what's the gap between Russell and Norris? Russell is right behind Théo Pourchaire and overtaking Théo Pourchaire. Norris is just behind with Jack Doohan just behind him. Then it's Tsunoda. And then it's Liam Lawson. And then Verstappen, Gasly, Piastri, Feeney. Feeney's doing well, actually. Oh, no, he hasn't pitted yet. Never mind. He has pitted. Brock Feeney did come in. Take that back. So who stayed out then? Stroll stayed out, okay. Stroll, of course, with that 10-second time penalty. Sainz comes out just in front of Maloney, of course, with that 10-second time penalty having to be served. Which has now been served. Not too far behind. I'm totally surprised by that. Stroll, Vesti, Behrman stayed out again. But Stroll, Vesti, and the other one, Pourchaire, all come in this lap. What is Behrman doing? Surely you come into the pits. Unless he's hoping for a safety car, maybe. Which you never know. But Behrman massively off strategy to everyone else by the looks of things. Going 52 laps on these hard tyres. We'll get replays once Behrman's come in, I think. But I'm really interested to see where he comes out, to be honest. Where is he currently? He's there. Russell's not far behind him. Russell on the soft tyres has massively closed this gap. And Behrman is going to be so far behind these top two. And that could be Behrman's championship over. What is this strategy from Haas? I'm very confused about that. Is he finally going to come into the pits? Yes, he does. Behrman in. Where would he come out? He's already been overtaken by George Russell before he even gets to the pit limiter. There we go. There's going to be a quick stop. It is a very good stop. Onto the soft tyres now. Down to 9th. Down to 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th place. That is a huge shame for Behrman. But who else has fallen off there? The Ferraris are 9th and 12th. That's big. He's gone behind Drogovic and Brock Feeney. Brock Feeney in 10th with a big jump. Lawson, I think, is the biggest gainer, and Jack Doohan. But these top two in the race. Let's get some Sainz replays then. Where is he currently? 19th, so despite having that penalty, he's still in front of Vesti and Maloney. What's happened with them in this race, I don't know, but it's been pulled. Maloney started second, by the way. The Sainz goes a bit wide. Maloney started second, so how he's dropped off massively, considering he wasn't even that far back at the start. It's not like he immediately plummeted. He was up there for a decent amount, so to be right at the back is a huge shock. Anyway, let's get some replays. Firstly, it'll be a spin with Verstappen. Let's go on board with the Dutchman. I think it's here. So he goes wide through Broxo 5, and then... it's just Verstappen getting wide. Still under investigation, that incident. I mean, not Verstappen getting wide. Verstappen tries it down the inside, gets on the curb, which I think this unsettles the car, and ends up spinning Sainz around. And unfortunately, messed up the Spaniard, put him down to 13th, even 14th place. Let's go on board with him to see what it looks like from his angle. Could you have done anything? No. I think that's a pretty slam dunk. Probably 10-second time penalty, to be honest, considering what Stroll got for another pretty much slam dunk penalty. Anyway, not long after that, Sainz had a huge off going into turn 1. Have we had that yet? Yeah, we have. Here we go. No, that's the Verstappen incident, never mind. That's what we just saw. Was it that very lap? I don't think so. He was second at the time. So... Wait, no, this is after it, so I'm rushing ahead too much. This is the lap of it. So this is... No, this would have already happened. So... No, it hasn't already happened. What? Did he give me sweet time? So he slipstreams the Ferrari coming in. And then, let's go off board for now. He's got Antonelli just behind him. Doesn't look like there'll be any contact. Just goes wide. Really sloppy mistake from Sainz. And then, very lucky not to go into the gravel there. I mean, not to go into the wall. Thankfully, keeps it from being beached. And then, slowly but surely, gets back on track. Almost goes off again. So let's just see. Yeah, goes wide, sloppy. I mean, it's like lucky not to get launched by those curbs as well. They are deadly. Anyway, let's go back live now. Oh, he's going a bit wide there. Bit ahead, there we go. Bang on. Love to see it. And it is George Russell who still leads this race. Lando Norris just behind. Doohan just behind him. And they come into the pits again. What on earth is going on? Why are they coming in? Russell in. They're all in. What is going on? Verstappen stays out. The top runners on the softs have gone already. That's a huge, strange incident. What on earth? Behrman stays out. Hamilton stays out. Drogovic stays out. Russell comes out in 8th place. No, he's not. He's further back. 11th. Yeah, he's 11th. Norris 12th, Tsunoda 13th, and I'm assuming Doohan in 14th. Is that it who came in? No, Piastri came in. Yeah, Ocon in, Lawson in, Stroll in, Antonelli in, Mercedes double stack then, Maloney in, Albon in. Why are people pitting? I don't get that. Maybe the softest aren't the tyre to be on, but it's Verstappen who leads from Pierre Gasly. Weird that Leclerc third, Brock Feeney currently in fourth place. Maybe this could make up for him losing that Supercars Championship. Robbed, in my opinion, of course. An incident with Ryan Wood on the final round of the season, and engine issues later on in that race as well. Cost him. Hamilton in sixth place is Feeney is about to be overtaken, I think, by Oliver Behrman, who actually stays out, of course. He's been on the soft for barely any time. You can see the grass there from where Sainz went off. But just over 20 laps now of this season. Behrman chasing down the man who's no, it's not. It could be his future teammate that he's chasing down, Charles Leclerc. Russell still just in front of Norris. They are now just behind a pack of Vesti, Pourchaire, Sainz and Drogovic. Actually, no, it's just Sainz. No Drogovic in this battle. But they've gone to the softs again, the people that just pitted. So why they've done that, I don't know. But yeah, as Behrman now chasing down Hamilton. Chasing down Leclerc. Gets a big bounce on those curbs, but he's still able to get the move done into turn 2, and Behrman up into third place now. Brock Feeney got Hamilton just behind him, trying to catch up. And actually, George Russell has got past Fred Vesti, so these are climbing up the field a bit. Next up for George Russell is Thierry Pourchaire. I'm going to go for a quick break, and then once I'm back, maybe George Russell has got past them. And I actually thought Sainz was going to pit there, but apparently not. As I come back to just say that, as now Pourchaire down the inside. So Pourchaire getting past Carlos Sainz. And welcome back to Sydney. Wasn't gone for long, but Sainz has got back ahead of Thierry Pourchaire. Now Pourchaire into the back of him as they go around the final corner to start lap 61. So is Pourchaire going to make a move into turn 1? Oh no, Pourchaire comes to the pit, so does Frederick Vesti. So now it's just George Russell behind him. Probably race lead. Oh, that's a huge off for Sainz. It goes off again. Sainz has another off at this race, this time through the first corner. Where is he? Oh, I can't find him. Where's Sainz? Oh, what earth happened there? Okay, never mind. Where's Sainz? Oh, because Russell leads, that's why. So everyone else came in. Sainz currently 10th. He's dropping down a bit. Oh, Sainz is out. Sainz is out of the race. So that crash has ended the race for Carlos Sainz. What happened there then? It's a huge shame for Sainz. He's going through the first corner. And then what happened? There's a huge snap going through it. And it's a big hit into the wall. I didn't realise he actually hit the barrier. But unfortunately he did. He gets bounced off the tyre wall. And that's Carlos Sainz's race run. Big off for him. Let's go on board. And I'll go on board to George Russell as well. And just weird off that. Spins round, hard hit into the wall. Crashing out actually from the race lead there, Carlos Sainz, albeit not on strategy with everyone else. Maybe his tyre just went, I'm not too sure. Could be a tyre issue. It does look like it could have been a tyre issue actually for Carlos Sainz. It's a shame for him. Unfortunately, that is his race run. And we'll go back to live, then I'll go back on that break that I was actually on, and then yeah, so it's Norris actually leading this race, so you can watch this battle for the lead and for the championship lead, and I'll be back shortly. And while I was gone, they come in yet again, this time onto the hards. Oh, no, they're on soft, never mind. These soft tyres can't be lasting long at all if Russell and Norris come in again with each other. They go down to third and fourth, respectively. Actually, I think Albon could be getting in front of Norris there, which he does. There's Rory Vesti, so it's Behrman who leads again, from Drogovic, from Russell, and then Fred Vesti in front of Norris. So it's the two potentially Cadillac drivers next year not doing too badly. Hello and welcome back to Sydney, where we are on lap 67, and it's George Russell who leads Oliver Bearman in this race. Bearman, I believe, has one, he has one less pit stop than these front runners. Is he going to go to the end? Who knows? But how is everyone doing? It's Russell leading, of course, Bearman second, as I said, Norris third. Your top three in the championship are again top three in this Sydney Supernight, with Drugovich watching on in fourth place, Snowder in fifth, Vesti in sixth. But do Bearman, Drugovich and Vesti have to pit again? I'm not sure. Or did that extra long stint from Bearman at the start actually help him? Who knows? The soft tyres haven't been good this race. As we know, as Doohan gets past Vesti and Oscar Piastri in 8th place. Missed a Saturday night for the last 2 years. Who knows what he'll do this year? As Norris gets past Bearman through turn 4. And we are very close to finishing this season off on a high. Who will be that champion though? It still could be either of these three. We still do not know. Coming into it level on points is currently Bearman with the fastest lap. That probably won't make a difference though, unless they all crash into each other. Actually no, because then Bearman will get that point. So actually, again, yeah, it won't make a difference unless they say like Russell crashes and it's Norris in 9th, Bearman 10th. That's where it will come into play. But who knows? Because he might lose that fastest lap point. Because if that happens, then Bearman will not count back. So yeah. As Norris trying it down inside on Russell, and Norris trying it again down inside on Russell, and Norris up into second place. I mean, for goodness sake, up into the lead of this race and lead of the championship, past George Russell from second place. What I was trying to say is Piastri's barged his way past Jack Doohan, I saw. The other championship contender, if you remember, Pierre Gasly, he's in 16th place. I don't really see anything happening. Lawson as well, 19th. He was actually up there at one point. I think he had to pit again. Unfortunately, Sainz has been taken to a local centre, he has been cleared, so that's good to hear. Yeah, at the end of this lap, will be 10 to go for the rest of this season. 10 laps left to decide this champion, and 10 very short laps this season will be done in a flash. And then it'll be a few months wait until the opening round of the next season at Pukekohe in New Zealand. An early start, unfortunately, for that one. As Piastri now getting past Tsunoda as well and up to 4th place. Mr. Saturday Night is flying. Can he again get that win? If you remember last year, Piastri took the win off of Lando Norris, who was actually in the championship fight. Of course, he still won it, but it was actually, that could have been costly for his teammate. And could he potentially cost his teammate again in a Saturday night races? Bearman now leads. Russell trying to stay in front of Norris, but Norris will fight back through 3 and 4. Piastri goes a bit wide there. Almost gets overtaken again by Tsunoda. They're still side by side through 4, and then through Broxo 5. Who will have it? It will be George Russell, who stays in second place. But they don't want to battle for too long, because that's going to let Bearman shoot ahead into the lead of this race. So they don't want that. Is now Piastri in 4th place. I mean, he already was. We've now kind of officially confirmed that, considering how all over the place he was, coming out of 3. And next up for Piastri is his teammate. I highly doubt he'll be making that move with his teammate being there. If Norris gets past Russell, I'm sure Piastri will go for that move. But I think for now, Piastri just wants to hold on. Maybe try and push his teammate, bump draft him. In fact, that's what he's doing at the moment. We've seen it before in races, of course, most famously in the Bahrain Grand Prix. That caused some messes. I think you kind of can't bump draft them through turn 1, or you're going to end up spinning your teammate. So, yeah, Piastri sends it down the inside. What is he doing? Almost invites Tsunoda past. He must have outbraked himself. He's focusing too much on pushing his teammate, and he almost pushes him off the track. And, I mean, what is Piastri doing? If anything, he's putting huge pressure on his teammate. And that could force him into an error. So, I think Piastri just back down a bit. Try and keep Tsunoda behind. As I'm thinking he just hit him again. So, yeah, stop it, Oscar. He did it again. He's all over the back of his teammate. It's weird to see now Tsunoda trying to get past Piastri through turn 8. round the hairpin. I think Piastri will stay in front. I know they're not. They're side by side through 9. Who's going to back out? It's going to have to be Yuki Tsunoda. Piastri goes a bit wide, and Tsunoda will fight back through the final corner. Piastri keeps it. And now we're going to see him move into 1. I think Lando Norris looks the most racy. He'll try it down the inside. It's not going to work out. They're still strip teaming Russell, though. And then to turn 2, no, Behrman goes straight down inside on Russell, and Behrman into the lead of this race. Tsunoda tries it on Piastri yet again, but Piastri will hold off through turn 2. And again, it's Piastri in 4th place. That's not what McLaren wanted, though. Piastri would have wanted Norris to get past Russell, so Piastri can pounce on Russell. Because I think Piastri, out of all of them, is looking the most racy. Still all over the back of his teammate, but he has to back out of it, and that's going to invite Tsunoda down inside through Brock 05. It's not going to work out, though, but it is going to work out through turn 6, I think. Tsunoda will take the lead, no, take the 4th place. They're still side by side. This is great racing. And now Tsunoda attacks Norris. Piastri drives into the back of Norris, and I think that actually massively helped him. Now Tsunoda goes wide, though. That'll invite Drugovich to get past up into P5, which it does. Brazilian off strategy to everyone else, but I don't think he'll pit. He'll probably just hold on to these soft tyres for a little bit longer. Having a great last dance for Aston Martin, the team that he signed for as a test driver after his championship win in 2021. F2 championship, of course. And then in 2023, halfway through, when Alonso called quits, ended up taking that seat permanently. But Russell back into the lead of the race. But it's still not a move for Norris. Now Doohan trying to get past Tsunoda as well. Tsunoda could be dropping off a little bit, but no, Tsunoda holds on. But it's still all to play for. And with not many laps to go, 7 to go. We still don't know who'll be champion. Drugovich pushing Piastri a little bit wide there through turn 6. They go through 7 and 8. Piastri will stay in front. But Tsunoda, he gets in front of... No, Doohan and Tsunoda side by side, actually. Tsunoda stays in front. Vesti in 8th. I think it's just the top 8. Not sure where Leclerc is. Actually, where is he? Leclerc, bit of a gap. Yeah, it is really the top 8. Unless, I mean, you never know, Leclerc will probably end up catching up. Now, side by side, yet again, Russell versus Behrman. Behrman will have the inside line. The sparks getting kicked up are huge. As Behrman goes down the inside, and Behrman again into the lead. Piastri dropping off a little bit. These top 3 shooting off into the distance. Piastri holds on. 11:30 local time. I mean, I'm assuming they would have got up late, like maybe 1 PM local time. I think that's what they tend to do when it's a night race. Especially qualifying would have ended just after midnight, so... Yeah, of course, Friday night qualifying, 12 PM UK time. And it's still all to play for. These top 4, it could be anyone. Of course, Piastri, the only driver in this battle, not in championship contention. Goes a bit wide there, trying to attack his teammate. And again wide through the final corner. But it still is all to play for. And Piastri slip trimming his teammate. Is he just going to go for it? Is he getting impatient maybe? He's not. He's going to force Norris to make a move on Russell. Behrman has absolutely flown out to the distance. How on earth has he done that? But Norris down inside on George Russell. That's what Piastri wanted. Because now he can actually fight for position to try and help out his teammate in this championship. But Russell fights back. And they're side by side. Piastri's going to try and make it 3 wide. It's not going to work out. He gets into the grass. Almost a huge moment for Piastri, who almost spins the car around. Thankfully still going though. I'm sure he was sideways at one point, but they're still side by side. Russell versus Norris. But what this doesn't help them is championship wise, because Behrman's getting into the distance. And could Oliver Behrman win the championship in his rookie season? Piastri tries it on Norris. What on earth happened there? Where did Piastri come from? He almost spins going through turn 7. And now he's got Tsunoda in front of him. And that's not what he wanted. And almost onto the curb there. Tsunoda all over the back of him. Piastri has to get past George Russell here, surely. just to put off any pressure of Lando Norris so he can go and fight off Oliver Bearman. Adnelli isn't here. Ocon isn't here. Piastri is the only teammate in the championship fight that can help people, or can help his teammate. But at the moment, he's got Snowden right at the back of him. And they are starting to catch back up to Bearman, who absolutely shot away when Norris and Russell were side by side for half a lap. And there we go. Piastri into the back of Russell. I think he has to back off a little bit. Snowden down inside through 4. And through Brock 05, who will have it? It's going to be Piastri still in 4th place. But chasing down George Russell. Absolute madness. 4. It'll be 3 to go at the end of this race, at the end of this lap. In 2 corners time. Who will have it? Will it be Russell? Will it be Norris? Will it be Bearman? Norris currently trying to get it off of Bearman. Piastri nowhere near Russell to make a move for 3rd place. Piastri has won so far once this season at South Africa. In that final lap move. Are we going to see another final lap move for the win? Currently in 4th place though. He's going to try it round the outside of George Russell. Norris to take the lead through turn 2 as well. He's not going to go through 3. What about 4? No, not quite. Norris into the lead though. Next up is Oliver Bearman for George Russell. Or can Bearman hold on? But this isn't what Russell wants. He does not want Norris to shoot off into the distance. Doesn't want a heartbreak, just like he had in 2023. I don't think it'd be as much of a heartbreak as Piastri goes round the outside. It's not going to work out though. Almost had it there. Bearman right at the back of Norris again. This is still anyone's race. And there'll be 2 to go as they cross the line. Anything can happen. 2 laps left. What is going to happen? It'll be 2 to go. Piastri, I think you'll get Russell here into turn 1 or turn 2. Bearman possibly going to make a move as well, maybe. Does he? Bearman down inside. Bearman leads. It's a big move from the Brit. And Bearman, has he made the move too early? We'll have to see. Surely you want to be in 2nd place going into the final lap. So you can slipstream down the main straight and towards turn 2. But we'll have to see what happens. They go through turn 8 one last time. We are so almost done with this season. Piastri trying to get past Lando Norris as they go through turn 9, 10 and 11. And down the Brabham straight for one last time. Norris goes a little bit wide. That's not good for him. As Russell surely will try and get it. Piastri just watches on. He can't get past Russell. He's too far back. And the white flag is out for the Sydney SuperNight. The white flag is out for the 2025 season. Russell's right behind them. Surely not. He's going to make a move, is he? Down the inside. He'll go for it. Norris down the inside on Bearman. Russell down the inside on Norris. Russell leads the Sydney SuperNight. Russell leads the championship. Snowden getting involved as well in P5. Trying to get past Piastri. Piastri's got Bearman. So down the inside Norris. What is Piastri doing? He surely wants to help out his teammate. Piastri down inside through box 05 and through turn 6. Is it Piastri? He's going to do it. Piastri gets his teammate. All this is doing is helping George Russell extend his lead of this race. And it's surely Russell's now as we go through 7 for one last time. And through turn 8, is Piastri going to go through it, is he? Down the inside, this is where all the pace he's been saving in P4. He goes for the lead, and Mr. Saturday Night surely going to do it again. He won the South African Grand Prix in the final lap. He's going to win the Sydney SuperNight on the final lap as well. If they go through the final corners, it's surely going to be Oscar Piastri unless we see a Sydney 500 move from Cam Waters. From George Russell and Piastri, but it's not going to be. Piastri wins the SuperNight. George Russell, champion of the world. You've done it, George. After heartbreak 2 years ago, as Piastri just been spun around, what on earth has happened there? But George Russell, after losing it on the final race of the season in 2023, he wins it on the final race of the season in 2025. And what's happened to Piastri? I'm coughing again. I'm still not really over what I had last week. But what a race that was. George Russell is champion. Piastri is a race winner for the second time this season. He makes it 3 Saturday night races in a row. And he's doing the donuts at turn 2. You might want to control it. I think they're going to let Piastri do donuts, bring everyone into the pits, and then let Russell do donuts. There we go. Piastri, be careful, because there are still cars coming, Oscar. You want to be careful. And, oh, goodness me, watch it. But what an end to that race that was. And what an end to the season that was. Oscar Piastri, your race winner. Of course, as I mentioned before, he won in 2023 at Daytona. Won in 2023 at Sebring. Those were 305 races. This is the Super Night. And he wins it again. 3 in a row. And his home race as well. First race win for Piastri in his home country. It's his 4th win in Formula 1, I believe. What an end to the season that was. Piastri. Oh, goes straight on. Cuts the corner. Okay, Oscar. Goes through the short layout. And I'm going to see more donuts. Yes, we are. Of course we are. Of course we are. Oscar Piastri. In front of the home fans. And, oops, spinned around the final corner as well. Come on, look at all the fans there on the outside of the track. Look how bumpy it is as well, very undulating. Right on the outside of it. And now he's not going into the pitch, he's going onto the front straight. Can get some burnouts maybe. Come on, Oscar. There we go. Oh, into the wall. Don't think he's somehow not damaged the car, but there we go. Not the widest part of the track to do donuts, but oh, hit the wall again. Not great. I feel like it isn't the best track to do donuts on, to be honest, but we're going backwards. What is he doing? Anyway, let's go while he's doing this. Let's go through your race results. Of course, we saw Carlos Sainz crash out not far from the end. I think it was a puncture in the end that caused that crash. Then we got Maloney, the winner of his last race, started in second at 20th place. I don't get what happened to him. Then Paul Scher, second last week in New Zealand. He's in 19th. Your race winner last week in New Zealand, Liam Lawson, in 18th place. Brock Feeney, the wildcard driver, in 17th place. Not bad from him. 16th is Albon, 15th is Gasly, an unfortunate end to his championship campaign. Ocon 14th, Antonelli 13th, Stroll 12th, Hamilton 11th in what could be his final race in Formula 1. Same for Stroll as well, could be his last race. Verstappen 10th, Vesti 9th, Leclerc 8th, Drugovich 7th, Tsunoda 6th, Doohan 5th, Behrman 4th, Norris 3rd, Russell 2nd, and your race winner, Oscar Piastri, as he comes into the pits finally. I think George Russell will come out soon to do some donuts. And while Russell does his donuts, let's see, is he going to come out? Oh, they're all coming out. Oh, what on earth happened there? That was weird, but here's George Russell. While I go through your championship standings for the year. There we go. So, where's he going to do donuts first into turn 1? He waits for everyone to go past, I think. Don't know why everyone else gets to go out and do on a lap, but or a celebration lap, I don't know, but what's he doing? Yeah, he's waiting for everyone else. There we go. Getting the donuts in. George Russell is your champion. Anyway, as I said, let's go through your wildcard. Let's go through your championship standings. First off, go through the wildcards. Palou, Aaron, Lindblad, Solov, Stanek, Herter, Van Gisbergen, Wickens, Kamara, Marty, Mini, and Dunn, all on 0 points, unfortunately. Then we got Crawford, actually a replacement driver. He got 1 point in 31st. That was 44th to 42nd. No, 44th
to 32nd, by the way. Crawford in 31st. 30th is Valentino Rossi. Remember, ages ago, his wildcard appearance, getting 9th. He had 2 points. Martins in 29th on also 2 points. Of course, he was a replacement driver. Dirksen back to the wildcards. He already had 4 points in 28th place. Bortoleto, a replacement driver, in 27th place on 7 points. There we go. Browning in 26th on 8 points. Newville in 25th, also on 8 points. And Fornaroli, sorry. Fornaroli on 8 points, and then Joe Guanyu also on 8 points. Fornaroli, Newville, and Browning wildcards. Joe was a replacement driver. Colapinto, half replacement, half wildcard. He got 15 points, of course, that podium at China, remember. Mari Boyer in 21st place on 35 points. 1 race with a wildcard, 2 replacements. That wildcard race, remember, he won the Spanish Grand Prix. And then, of course, the 5th place, last time out in New Zealand. Now we've got the full-time drivers. We got Drogovic in 20th on 44. Sainz in 19th on 45. Stroll in 18th on 45. Maloney in 17th on 52. Of course, he won, remember, at the Argentine Grand Prix. There we go. Pourchaire in 16th on 57 points. He won the Chinese Grand Prix. Albon in 15th place on 59. Hamilton in 14th place on 72. It's a shame to be so far down in what could be his last race of his career. Then we got Ocon in 13th on 72 as well. Vesti in 12th on 79. He was the highest of the drivers not to do the full season. Antonelli in 11th on 81. Verstappen in 10th on 84. Lawson in 9th on 90. Doohan in 8th on 104. Leclerc in 7th on 111. Snowder 6th on 115. Gasly in 5th on 124. Piastri ended up 4th place on 138. Bahrain in 3rd on 156. Norris in 2nd on 158. And your championship winner, as you're watching, still do donuts, is George Russell. Let's go on board with him. Why not? Spinning it around through turn 8. Big bit of run-off, he chooses the narrow part of the track. Strange. Anyway, now you've got constructors, of course. As he goes to the next place. 10th, Aston Martin on 124. Really poor season from them. The only race win was from their wildcard driver. 2 other podiums, one from Stroll, one from Drogovic. Sauber in 9th, despite 2 race wins on 128 points. RB in 8th on 134. Their only win was last time out, remember. Williams in 7th on 137, despite not winning a race all season, the only team not to do so. Ferrari in 6th on 185, massively disappointing season for the Scuderia. Red Bull in 5th on 199, again disappointing from them. Alpine in 4th on 128. Haas in 3rd on 236. McLaren won it, on 196. No, Mercedes 2nd on 176. And then McLaren 1st on 296. McLaren are your Constructors champions. So yeah, that is it really. We're still watching Russell do some burnouts. Is he doing a burnout? He's trying to do a burnout, I think. Oh, is the engine gone? No. Okay. Apparently Russell's not in the car. That's weird. But yeah, next season, you know what, let's go through next season calendar, just give you a quick reminder of that. Still don't know the whole grid. All we know, I think, is McLaren and Mercedes confirmed. Everyone else is up for grabs. But your calendar next season, 2026, New Zealand Grand Prix, Pukekohe, March the 1st, that is 105 laps. Australian Grand Prix at Brownie Circuit in Troyton, March the 8th, that's 84 laps. Chinese Grand Prix at Zhejiang, March 15th, 96 laps. Japanese Grand Prix, F1 returns to Fuji on March 29th, 67 laps. First sprint race of the season is the South African Grand Prix at Kyalami on April 12th. Sprint race is 25 laps on the old layout. Oh, what's happened to George Russell now? And then 68 laps for the Grand Prix. Argentine Grand Prix at Potrero de los Funes on April 26th, 49 laps. Chicago Grand Prix on the Chicago Street Circuit on May the 3rd, 63 laps, not the NASCAR circuit, remember that. Canadian Grand Prix at the Mont Tremblant Circuit on May 10th for 73 laps, second sprint of the season. The French Grand Prix at Magnificent Park on May 31st. Sprint race is 17 laps on this shorter layout. And then what could be a night race, this French Grand Prix, 30 laps. It's a very long circuit there. Of course, as I said earlier, could be competition for the Le Mans. Spanish Grand Prix, the Valencia Street Circuit will return to Valencia, this time on the streets. 7th of June, F1 returns there, 57 laps. Czech Grand Prix at Moss, June 28th, 73 laps. Another sprint, British Grand Prix at Brands Hatch on July 12th. Sprint is 52 laps of the Indy Circuit, Grand Prix is 78 laps. Finnish Grand Prix at Helsinki Motorsport Park, Helsinki International Circuit, on July 9th, 59 laps. Turkish Grand Prix at Antalya, July 26th, 63 laps. Dutch Grand Prix is a night race at the Maastricht Circuit, 23rd of August, 39 laps. That might be Saturday night, I'm not too sure. Then we got the Italian Grand Prix, 1972 Imola layout on September 6th. That's a sprint race. The 2001 layout will host that sprint, 21 laps, and of course 61 laps on the 1972 layout. Then San Marino Grand Prix back at Imola for the 1988 layout. On September 13th, 61 laps as Russell finally comes into the pits. Then we go to the Eiffel Grand Prix on the Nürburgring, the Grand Prix circuit on the 27th of September, 60 laps that one is. German Grand Prix on the Nordschleife, 12 laps of that one, October 4th, with possibly a sprint on the Südschleife or the Besenschleife, or maybe we might have a one-off midweek round on the Südschleife, who knows, that's still up for discussion. Russian Grand Prix on the Nürburgring, however you pronounce it, on October the 11th, 94 laps. US Grand Prix at Portland on October 25th, that's 97 laps. Mexican Grand Prix on the 1988 Mexico City layout, November 1st, that is 69 laps. We've got the Brazilian Grand Prix at Pinheiros on November 8th, 68 laps. The Daytona Grand Prix, these could be swapped around, by the way, I'm not too sure. But at the moment, round 24 is the Daytona Grand Prix on the Daytona Beach and Road Course on November 22nd, 45 laps. That could be lengthened just to make the race longer, because of course it's basically an oval, it's flat out apart from two hairpins. Then we've got the Texas 305, that is the Saturday night race at Texas Motor Speedway on November 28th. The night race, that could be moved to the week before though. Now, it's currently 127 laps, but that may be, again, lengthened so the race is longer. Indonesian Grand Prix at Mandalika on December 13th, that is 71 laps. And then your final round of the season is the Kuwait Grand Prix at Kuwait Motor Town on December 20th. That will be 55 laps and possibly a night race as well. Could be one more sprint race at a different circuit, who knows. But for now, that has been it for the 2025 season. Thank you so much for all the support, all the watching, everything. Do greatly appreciate it. Congratulations to George Russell for being champion, and also to Norris and Behrman for being in the battle the whole way round, and of course to Gasly as well, and to everyone else who did well. Lance Stroll, I'm talking about you. Yeah, that is it. So goodbye to all the drivers that could be leaving us at the end of the year. Hamilton, Stroll, could be maybe others, who knows. But for now, that is it. And for one last time in 2025. We'll see you if you go, hey. Goodbye.